Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to talk about Super Saiyan 3 Goku, the LR, the oldest unit in the game, essentially, that does not yet have an EZA. With the Wrath of the Dragon themed celebration going on JP for New Year's, everybody assumes that this guy be an absolute shoo-in. I would be genuinely shocked if he does not get his EZA on JP as part of this celebration. However, nothing has been announced as yet. I was hoping we might actually get some sort of reveal or teaser or maybe even the full info on Twitter today, but so far nothing. Obviously that could be upcoming in the next few days, we don't know. But in terms of what we do know announced from the JP side, when it comes to the current celebration, the only EZAs that are coming out, at least this week, are the Tech Tapion sub EZA and then the Tech free-to-play Trunks from the Wrath of the Dragon story event. So those units make sense, right? Tech Tapion, I think literally we looked at the units in a video the other day, came out on the same day as this guy, so it makes sense for him to get his EZA. I think he's the only, he's the side banner Tapion from the, I think the AGL one came out at the same time as well. He's the only one that doesn't have his EZA, right? Like the AGL does have one and got his quite some time ago. So makes sense for them to get their EZAs. But the question is, where is the EZA for this guy? Now, I do still think that it is coming. Like I say, I think the chances of us getting another Wrath of the Dragon themed celebration anytime soon are pretty slim, right? I mean, it's been what? I mean, since this guy, basically, since we got the last Dragon Fist Super Saiyan 3 Goku, so potentially be a long time, if ever, in Dokkan's like continued lifespan, because you know we know they've got the plan up to the 10th anniversary. That's when the games hopefully should be fully synced, so we would assume that it's then going to continue on at least a few more years after that. But they waited 6 years to go back to Super Saiyan 3 Dragon Fist, so even if Dokkan does survive that long, we could be looking at, God, it sounds crazy to say that out loud, we could be looking at 2030 or like 2029, I guess, for the next Dragon Fist if they wait 6 years again. So this guy, I feel like he will get his EZA. But one of the things that we were discussing on stream earlier today, and the reason why I put this video together, as you can already tell by the title, is we're discussing the possibility of, is he going to EZA on both versions at the same time? Now, obviously, there'll be some people out there that hear, just by hearing that proposition, just by seeing the title of this video, they might have already commented without even letting 10 seconds of the video play that this is just a cope from global players. And, you know, maybe it is a little bit, but I feel like there's definitely at least some signs that this could potentially be on the cards. And of course, you know, the first thing straight away before we get to any kind of evidence-based stuff, I mean, the first thing is just there would be super hype, right? Like, I'm sure they must know. We say this all the time, right? Whilst they might not necessarily always respond to things going on in the community, it's reasonable to assume that they have at least somewhat of an idea of the general thoughts and feelings of the community, especially when we make them vocal on social media and in the surveys and stuff like that. So I feel like they have to know to a certain extent that even if they feel like it's perfectly reasonable, and they said last year with the superhero stuff that it was a one-time only thing, they're probably aware that global players are not super happy about the fact that the New Year celebration is not synced with JP like it was last year, especially with the fact that they announced we are moving towards both the versions syncing, and, you know, we got a same time Dokkan Fest and same time LR at the end of the year for 2023 with 21 and the Super Saiyan trio. So for them to then unsync a celebration, essentially, it feels very counterproductive to what their end goal is. So they must know that people are not super happy about that. So having Super Saiyan 3 Goku's EZA drop on both versions at the same time would obviously be, you know, super hype. So I think that is, whilst that's not, you know, any evidence, right? They could do anything at global same time with no connection or whatsoever, and it's always kind of hype because same time stuff usually is, right? Because global then doesn't have to wait ages. So that's not anything based on any sort of evidence. It's just pretty much a straight up fact that if it came out on both versions at the same time, it would be hype. But let's look into a couple of things that actually would lead towards this being a possibility. So Over here we have the news update that dropped at the very end of 2023 going into 2024, and this was on JP and Global. Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle 2024 New Year. Thank you for your support of Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle in 2023. And as we talked about this in the New Year's video that I put up, right, they just went over a bunch of stuff about things that have happened during 2023, some of the stuff that's going to be upcoming in 2024. No real details, just, you know, hope you continue to enjoy playing. However, just like JP, they used the image of LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku as the news update for this going into 2024. Now, of course, if he Easy A's during the celebration on JP and not on Global, he's still going to be Easy A'ing in 2024 on Global when we get the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest characters, which will be in April. So just because he's on here and it says 2024 New Year doesn't mean it's going to be same time, but it would be pretty cool if that's why they chose this specific image, right? If they were about to announce this on JP and then it gets announced for Global as well, seems perfectly fitting to use this as the image for going into New Year's. Now, obviously, looking at both sides, 2024 in terms of like the Chinese calendar is the year of the dragon, so it kind of makes sense on another level to use this image of the Dragon Fist Goku. But for Global, I mean, I guess other people we'd start speculating about that maybe too, but Goku, they could have used an older Dragon Fist Goku image. They could have used the Super Saiyan 4 LR, like 18 key with the Dragon Fist. They could have used a different image. They could have used an image of just Shenron, right? There's plenty of stock in. They got plenty of images of Shenron from the wishes, from like, you know, a screenshot from Bulma's super attack. They could have used a different image for this, right? Rather than just putting the global version, because the JP image, I should probably have found the image to reference it, but the image on JP is slightly different, right? The global one is, the actual picture is the same, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but the global one has like English, whereas the Japanese one has Japanese, right? Yeah, so the only real difference is the Dokkan Battle logo has the Japanese symbols underneath. Now, obviously, if they got the same person in the office to just make both of these images at the same time, technically the only thing that is different is the Dokkan Battle logo. So for the JP one, they would have just used the one that has the Japanese symbols underneath, Dokkan Battle, and then obviously for the global one, they just didn't use that one. They just used the normal one. But at the end of the day, whilst that's probably the easiest way to differentiate between the two, they could have used a different image. Maybe they just did it because they couldn't be bothered. I mean, we have those memes for Global, right, with the Global intern, with the weird mistakes they make on Twitter sometimes and stuff like that. So it's, of course, very possible that they just thought, we'll just use the same image, but don't put on the Dokkan Battle logo that has the Japanese symbols on it because this one's for Global, right? And so the Super Saiyan 3 Goku here could have absolutely nothing to do with it. Of course, this whole video is just speculation, and as I've already said, many people will probably just assume that is just Global Cope. But there's a particular thing that we could take as a hint, right? That this Super Saiyan 3 Goku Dragon Fist art is on the 2024 New Year's announcement for Global as well as JP. Now, the other thing that is interesting when we look at the Step Up banner for the New Year, which again was on both versions at the same time, but this version of the Step Up banner that has now changed, right? We have a Super Type 1 and an Extreme one. If we take a look down the list here, we obviously have our first step that has some of the old Dokkan Fest exclusives, and then we get to the second step that has a guaranteed LR as the 10th unit, and we have the Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku, God Goku, Kale and Caulifla, the GT Trio, Trunks and Mai, Beerus and Whis, and then Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now, if you know, you know, but what's the one thing that stands out about Super Saiyan 3 Goku alongside all of these other LRs that are in Step 2? And the answer to that question is he's the only one that doesn't have an Easy A. Now, again, just like the art for the 2024 teaser, the banner is the same on JP, and he's probably going to be getting his Easy A on JP. So the easy explanation could just be, obviously, they want the banners to be the same on both Global and JP, and he's getting his Easy A on JP, but not on Global. And they weren't going to change the banner just because he's not getting an Easy A, right? But it is very interesting to think that all of these other units in this step are LRs that have Easy A's, and he does not. they could have picked another one to be featured potentially. Obviously for JP, I guess if he's about to get his EZA, him being featured on the Step Up banner is a cool selling point for the banner. And whilst that means nothing for Global, as we've already said, they want the banners to be the same. They probably wouldn't just change Goku for somebody else on Global just because he's not going to get an EZA. But again, it could be seen as a hint that it is going to be happening on Global at the same time. You know, would definitely be cool, but there you go. So we've got the New Year's announcement. He's in the banner. And then, of course, the other thing is for JP, of course, it's relevant because it's a Wrath of the Dragon celebration. We got a new Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who obviously the LR would fit under his leader skill. But remember, Global is about to get the Tech Super Trunks. I know we're all super hyped for this. He's going to be coming out tomorrow. I'll be live to do summons. I've got a video going up later today to talk about the banner in more detail. But yeah, Super Trunks is going to be coming out on Global. Now, Super Trunks, not related, right? From the Android/Cell saga. Got nothing to do with movies. Got nothing to do with Super Saiyan 3. However, Trunks' leader skill, Mastered Evolution or Android/Cell saga, 3 key, HP attack and defense 170, additional attack and defense 30% for characters who belong to Rapid Growth or Earthbred fighters. So, when we go back to take a look at Super Saiyan 3 Goku, LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku is Mastered Evolution, 170% 3 key, and plus 30% to Earthbred fighters. The other category that, I say the other, he's on loads, but the other category that Goku is on. So this Super Saiyan 3 Goku is on Super Trunks' 200% leader skill. So whilst I'm not necessarily going to say that in and of itself is a hint that he could be dropping on Global, but at least the timings line up so that if his EZA drops on Global at the same time as well, he's going to be on the team of the new unit that is releasing on Global at this time. Just like on JP, he's on the team for the new Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who is the new Dokkan Fest releasing on JP. So, you know, whilst each of these things in and of themselves, none of them are so blatant of a hint that it's like, you know, oh my god, he's going to EZA on Global. That's why this is just a speculation video. But when we put all of these things together, you know, the hints are definitely there. Now, I'm not saying, of course, that I think it's really likely that this is going to happen. I'm obviously not saying it definitely is going to happen. I do think if I had to bet money, like my own money, I would probably just bet that it's not going to happen for Global as well. But we started discussing the idea on stream earlier and putting these little pieces of the puzzle together. It certainly is interesting and would be very, very cool if he was to drop on Global at the same time. Because remember, for JP, the new unit is a Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So this guy, even if he's really good, whether with his EZA, whether he's a slot 1 unit, whether he's a slot 2 unit, whether they give him some sort of passive that you actually want to float him in slot 3 maybe even, it's going to be very awkward for JP because that new Goku is a slot 2 unit or potentially slot 3. So even if you wanted to run this guy on that Goku's team, that new Goku, if you're running double leads, wants to be in slot 2. That means this guy, whether he's in slot 1 or slot 3, he's not going to get any links active because he can't link with another named Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So unless you run them on a team where, you know, you're running them under somebody else's leader skill and you have this guy on one rotation and the new STR one on another rotation, they're going to clash and get in each other's way. Whereas obviously if he drops on Global, he's going to be the best Super Saiyan 3 Goku on Global until that STR one comes out, right? Because we don't have any other competition for a Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So him dropping on Global at the same time, it would actually probably be more hype for him to come out on Global now than it is for him to come out on JP. Obviously, if you're on JP and you didn't pull the new Goku, you know, this guy's a very heavily wanted EZA. People are going to be hyped on both versions, whether he's, you know, as long as he's not terrible, of course. People will be hyped on JP for his EZA if he's good, even with that kind of issue of running him with the new one. But if he's going to come out on Global as well, that's mega hype for us because he doesn't have that competition and he's just the best Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And he's on a bunch of other teams, even if you don't want to summon for Trunks. So him coming to Global as well would be a massive W. Now, as I've already said, just to reiterate at the end here, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. This is just a speculation video. If I had to bet, I don't think it is going to happen, but it certainly is very interesting to look at each of these individual bits of information and wonder if that means we are potentially going to get him drop on both versions at the same time. Because what a banger start to 2024 that would be, the Year of the Dragon, if one of the most anticipated EZAs actually finally comes to the game and it comes to both versions at the same time. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you think there's any chance whatsoever that this could happen? Would you be hyped? I imagine most people would be. And whether you think he'll come to global or not, what would you like to see from his EZA when it does indeed drop? So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.